Know the top stories of the day. Understand the issues that matter. This is Manila Bulletin News on Web. Your quick rundown of top news in the country and around the world. Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Be fully informed. Hi, I'm Barbie Atienza. This is MB Now, and here are your news on web. The public will be required to wear face shields alongside their masks when going out of their houses as a precaution against the coronavirus infection or risk possible penalties. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque said the mandatory use of full face shields will provide an additional protection to help prevent the surge of coronavirus cases during the holiday season. Penalties may be slapped against violators of the new face shield rule based on the decision of the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Infectious Diseases. The latest IATF decision was made in view of the face shield's effectiveness in reducing risk of transmission between persons. The task force has urged concerned local government units to issue the necessary executive order or ordinance to implement the latest order. In August, people have been required to wear face shields in public transportation, workplaces, and commercial establishments as protection from the COVID transmission. A month later, the use of face shield was expanded when going to supermarkets, public markets, malls, and in venues where government-initiated meetings and critical government services are conducted. The mandatory use of the face shield is among the last efforts of the IATF to immediately arrest and control the resurging community transmission of COVID-19 cases during the holiday season. In Resolution number 88, the task force has strongly cautioned the public about their domestic travel and reiterated the quarantine guidelines, particularly the observance of minimum public health standards, especially in areas under general community quarantine and modified general community quarantine. A dry run of voluntary face-to-face classes will be allowed in some schools located in places with low coronavirus risk in January next year, following the approval from President Duterte and the cabinet. Presidential spokesman Harry Roque said the pilot implementation of in-person classes will be conducted under strict health and safety protocols, as well as require permits from the concerned parents. The proposal of the Department of Education on the matter was approved by the President and the Cabinet during a meeting in Malacanang Monday. Roque made clear that the planned face-to-face classes in schools would not be compulsory, but rather voluntary on the part of the learner and the parents. The government has prohibited the traditional face-to-face classes this school year for the protection of students from the coronavirus infection. Instead of physically going to schools, students attend classes through distance learning methods such as online, printed modules, or radio and television-based instructions. President Duterte previously declared that there won't be face-to-face classes until the coronavirus vaccine is developed as a precaution against the outbreak. Recently, the government has started talks with a number of drug companies manufacturing candidate COVID-19 vaccines to secure the country's supply. The coronavirus cases have soared nearly 500,000 as the government moved to relax lockdown rules to stimulate economic growth and boost employment. The United Nations Children's Fund, or UNICEF, said on Tuesday teachers should also be prioritized to receive the COVID-19 vaccine once the frontline health workers and high-risk populations are vaccinated. Last April, the UNICEF said nationwide school closures disrupted the learning of almost 90% of students worldwide. It added that as of December 1, classrooms are closed for nearly 1 in 5 school children globally, or 320 million children. The agency said that as cases increase in many countries around the world, communities are closing the schools again. The UNICEF underscored that the COVID-19 vaccine will protect the teachers from the virus, which will allow them to teach in person and keep the schools open. Pope Francis has sent these very warm greetings to the Filipino nation and continued to cherish his 2015 visit to the Philippines. New Apostolic Nuncio to the Philippines, Charles John Brown, conveyed the Pope's message and mentioned the excellent relations between the Holy See and the Philippines during the presentation of his credentials to President Duterte in Malacanang. The U.S.-born Archbishop arrived in Manila late last month to start his stint as head of the Holy See's diplomatic mission to the Philippines. Duterte attended a palace event via video conference from the Malago Clubhouse. Pope Francis embarked on a 5-day historic visit to the Philippines in January 2015, promoting the message of protection of the family as well as promotion of social justice and compassion for the poor when he addressed large jubilant crowds. When he spoke before government leaders in Malacanang then, the pontiff issued an appeal to shun corruption and end social inequalities. As he starts his diplomatic stint in the country, Brown said he looks forward to enhancing the relations between the Holy See and the Philippines. In Metro News, travel time on EDSA 20% faster due to truck bans return, according to the MMDA. Navotas LGU grants tax refund. And Manila LGU turns over 650,000 Christmas food boxes to barangays. More from this report.
The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority said that the travel time has become 20% faster along EDSA with the reimposition of track ban on December 14. MMDA said the return of track ban seeks to alleviate the heavy traffic in the metropolis. Metro Manila mayors pushed for the reimposition of the track ban due to an increased number of vehicles during the holidays. Meanwhile, 25 truck drivers were apprehended for violating the track ban on the first day of its return. Under the track ban ordinance of MMDA, anyone who violates the ordinance will be given a citation ticket worth 2,000 pesos. For those truck drivers apprehended thrice, the MMDA will recommend it to the Land Transportation Office the suspension of their license for a year. The local government of Navotas City will refunding the taxes paid by its residents as surcharges, penalties, and interests. This came after Mayor Toby Tiangco signed Ordinance 2020-45, granting tax refund to taxpayers who have paid surcharges, penalties, and interests on all local taxes and fees due and assessed from September 14, 2020 until effectivity of the ordinance. The local government said taxpayers qualified for the tax refund may coordinate with the City Treasurer's Office. Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Dumagoso led a ceremonial turnover of around 650,000 Christmas food boxes to barangay officials on Monday. These food boxes will be distributed to each family in the city to ensure that no one will go hungry on Christmas Day. Each food box contains 2 kilograms pack of rice, canned goods, spaghetti sauce, pasta, and fruit cocktail. Dumagoso said they decided to turn over the Christmas food boxes to the barangays instead of handing them personally to the residents to enforce physical distance guidelines amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
Here now are the top news in other parts of the country. Baguio City is third best in COVID-19 response in the country. Churches in Malolos may have shorter simbang gabi. And 43 Davao de Oro mining firm employees test positive for COVID-19. Details in this report.
The country's summer capital, Baguio City, placed third best nationwide in coronavirus disease response in the 2020 Digital Governance Awards, which gave recognition to the digital initiatives of local government units in the country. The city was recognized for its COVID-19 tracing system, which comprises an aggregate surveillance tracker, support package, as well as an automated analytics device. A total of 56 LGUs joined the awards program jointly undertaken by the Department of Information and Communications Technology, Department of Interior and Local Government, and the National ICT Confederation of the Philippines. Baguio City was also a finalist in 3 eGov categories, namely the Best in Customer Empowerment, Best in Business Empowerment Award, and Best in COVID-19 Response category. Priests in the Diocese of Malolos were asked to deliver shorter homilies during the 9-day Simbang Gabi. In the Simbang Gabi guidelines released by the diocese on Monday, priests were asked to shorten their homilies to 10 minutes to prevent the spread of COVID-19. The diocese said, Masses must also be simpler and shorter by eliminating the processional incensation, reciting instead of singing some parts of the Mass, and using shorter songs. Other health protocols related to the liturgy in the guidelines include limiting to only one lector to do all the readings, or if there are more than one, microphones must always be disinfected. Having 2 or 3 cantors, but if there is a full choir, they must be confined at a choir loft or a suitable place that provides a safe distance from the congregation, and limiting altar servers to at least 2 and not more than 4 among others. The provincial government of Davao de Oro on Monday said 43 employees of a mining company operating in Macot town have tested positive for the coronavirus disease. The 43 additional cases were among the 46 new cases recorded in the province last December 12. In a statement, the provincial government said the employees were exposed to a visitor who was later found to be positive for COVID-19. The employees are currently under isolation at the Municipal Isolation Unit. Contact tracing is also ongoing to locate other individuals who have had direct contact with the employees.
And now in world news, Electoral College confirms Biden White House victory. Solar eclipse plunges southern Chile and Argentina into darkness. And Santa immune to COVID-19 and can still make Christmas rounds, according to the World Health Organization. Let's watch this report.
Joe Biden was confirmed as the next U.S. president on Monday as the Electoral College formalized his victory over Donald Trump, all but closing the door on the incumbent's efforts to overturn the result of the 2020 election. As Biden appealed to Americans to turn the page on the divisive contest, electors met across all U.S. states to seal his win, with California pushing Biden over the majority of 270 votes and clearing the way for him to take office on January 20. But with his ability to steal the spotlight still intact, Trump announced moments later that Attorney General Bill Barr, who contradicted the outgoing president's claim the November 3 election was marred by fraud, would leave his post next week. Thousands of people turned their heads to the sky to watch a solar eclipse that lasted around 2 minutes on Monday, as southern Chile and Argentina were plunged into darkness. Heavy rain had threatened to prevent stargazers in Chile from seeing the eclipse, but at the last moment the clouds parted, just enough for the phenomenon to be partially visible. It was the second total eclipse for Chile in the last 18 months. This one struck at 1 p.m. as thousands of tourists and residents gathered, hoping the clouds would disappear in time. Despite COVID-19 restrictions on movement, almost 300,000 tourists had arrived in Araucanía region, around 800 kilometers or 500 miles south of the capital, Santiago. The pandemic need not deter Santa from traveling the world and handing out gifts this coming Christmas, because he is immune to COVID-19, a World Health Organization official said. As the coronavirus pandemic continues to rage, WHO's lead on the crisis, Maria Van Kerkhove, told a press briefing she understood many children were worried how the virus could impact Father Christmas. But while seemingly eager to help spread the holiday cheer, Van Kerkhove also stuck to the WHO's role of advising how best to stay safe and halt transmission of the virus that has killed more than 1.6 million people in the past year.
In entertainment, Jesy Nelson has left Little Mix after 9 years of being in the group. In a letter posted on Instagram, the singer said she decided to leave the girl band to take care of herself and her mental health. She said that she finds the constant pressure of being in a girl group and living up to expectations very hard. Nelson added that she wants to spend time with the people she loves and do things that make her happy. Nelson thanked her fellow bandmates for creating some of the most amazing memories with them or with her that she will never ever forget. The 3 remaining members meanwhile assured fans that they will continue to make music together as Little Mix. In sports, a new polling showed that majority of Japanese people oppose holding the coronavirus-postponed Tokyo 2020 Olympics next year, favoring a further delay or outright cancellation of the massive event, new polling showed Tuesday. The new data show public sentiment has shifted little since the summer, when surveys in Japan also found only a minority backing plans to hold the games next year, despite the imminent arrival of new vaccines. A poll released Tuesday by national broadcaster NHK found just 27% of respondents support holding the games next year, with 32% backing cancellation and 31% favoring a further postponement. The remaining respondents said they were unsure or gave no answer. Olympic organizers and Japan officials have ruled out any further delay of the games, which are the first in history to be postponed during peacetime. They have insisted Tokyo 2020 can be held even if the pandemic is not under control by the new opening date of July 23, 2021. But the Japanese public do not appear convinced. A poll published on Monday by the GG Press Agency similarly found 21% favoring a cancellation and nearly 30% a further delay. In a Kyodo News Agency poll published December 6, also found a total of 61.2% opposed to holding the games next year. The figure comes with just over 7 months to go until the postponed games are scheduled to open. And those are the news on Web today, December 15, 2020. It's just 10 days before Christmas. For more news and details, get your copy of Manila Bulletin newspaper tomorrow or log on to www.mb.com.ph, or you may also subscribe to our newsletter through the link on this video's caption to have the day's latest news delivered to your inbox. I am Barbie Atienza for Manila Bulletin, celebrating 120 years of timely stories and timeless truths. Join us again tomorrow. This has been MB Now. Be fully informed.